Hey, baby. So, this is like the Transylvania place, the Forgotten Hollow, and it's full of vampires. So, it's from Vampire Pack. And I decided that I wanted to make it feel more like Transylvania. So, it came with this like really cute little townhouse, but everything is more Victorian in this world, which is very Bram Stoker, very cool like that. But I kind of wanted to make it more global. Like The Sims has a lot of like European stuff, a lot of like England already has like the Cotswolds and all that. So this is one where I was like, okay, I could go a little bit different. So I started by like trying to figure out what I could do. I kind of wanted to feel like almost like starter homey. So like it could be bought right away. Um but starter homes are ridiculously like mm, under designed. Like they don't have a lot going for them, unfortunately, because like all the furnishings are really bare and spare. Because you only get like $20,000 to start with, which I mean, if in real life you actually got $20,000, it'd be great. But um, in The Sims, it's not really gonna go very far in terms of like cute design. So I kind of just made them however I want to, and damn the costs. Um, that said, I made them into little apartments, so I'll give myself points for that. So I started looking up like Romanian and especially Transylvanian architecture and like what it looked like, and they had a lot of these like kind of joined homes and stuff with like multiple levels, and there was like this really interesting thing with the roofs. Like a lot of them were kind of like pitched in like an arch almost, but not quite, kind of like rounded in a lovely way. And it was these like uh, really lovely like old villages. So I was like, okay, like let's see about that. Let's do a little bit of that. Um, so that's how I kind of got this formation, and I wanted to feel more like a collection of like really old village houses and not so much like apartment buildings because we're going for the vibes. So I kind of gave it like this, and I had this idea to put like livestock here in like this little back area, um, but I didn't really know how I wanted to do it, so I like put a little like half wall in as if it were a fence. Um, and then I started messing around with like the roofs because I have this like really interesting thing where there's like an eave kind of effect like throughout. So I kind of tried to make that happen on that one where you could see like a really distinctive like upper and lower level as if like it was built into the roof somehow or something. Um, and then like I had to go in and like figure out what packs I was gonna do. So I chose to do like the vampire pack and a couple of like the little like kits and things to make it nice. Like there's like a movie pack that feels very like Eastern European, Russian sort of inspired. Um, and so I kind of went for that one just because I thought it would be a nice take on the entire thing. And then of course there's like these tile roofs, the red tile roofs that are present in like the photos that I saw. So that was cool. So it's not gonna be a direct like this is Transylvania. Like I don't think anyone who's from Transylvania would recognize this as their stuff, but I kind of wanted it to feel distinctive in its own way, and not like entirely like gothic. I think that the gothic thing is going to be really fun to play with when it's like real vampire time, but I wanted there to be a little bit of variety, so that there was like playful whimsicothic, I guess whimsigoth. Um, so we're doing kind of like a charming little moment here, as much as possible. And obviously, like, getting the stairs in and trying to find a way to like include stairs was so difficult because it's like, how am I supposed to like get to the top floor? And like it makes the upper rooms really strange shape if I don't do like a straight line, but also like straight lines are boring, and so I don't know. I kind of played around with it, and some of this might not actually be practical for the Sims to live in. Like let's be real, but I wanted to feel like very cottagey, so I'm using the cottage pack also, but I ended up just messing around with it a little bit. Oh, and I thought this little capper was really cute. Thought that would be a cute detail. Just to add a level again of like a little whimsy, a little fun, and completely forgot how to make basements, and remembered suddenly that there was a basement tool, which is actually very helpful because in the past I used to just draw basements and hope that they lined up, and it turns out actually no, they can actually like line up perfectly if you're willing to try a little bit. So, um, Yeah, if you want to play this, that's how you do it. There's an actual basement tool. And then I did like this little like kind of sunken courtyard space that was nice, and I was like trying to find like what windows would look good, and I landed on like wanting everything to have shutters, and I was like, what if like they weren't painted evenly, or some of them were like faded from the sun, or you know they had changed around a little bit. So I kind of got this idea of like multiple kinds of windows with different paint things going on, and like different owners having different color schemes that they liked, and you know, kind of got into it actually. But I really like the shutter thing. I think it creates like a really nice countryside feel to it. And I just like the way they came out. I think they were good. But lots and lots of window selection going on here. And then like realizing that I hate the windows that I've chosen and wanting to change them. But I kind of like hadn't figured out how I wanted like everything to lay out yet, like in the different rooms. So that's usually when I'm going off of like an actual floor plan, this will be like a lot easier for me. But I don't know, being responsible for making the windows is hard. Like these poor Sims are gonna have to live in this house, and what if it's not good? And I wanted them all to have like a little bit of a view of like the water, and you know have some access to the town square, and you know have sensible places for windows instead of putting them in places where you would never want to look out. So that's what I did too. And you know, watch me go through the menus. This took so much longer than you realize. So yeah, it took so long. But it's fun. It's a fun little project. And now I've got like way too many windows. So these houses are all window now. And coordinated terribly. So uh-oh. But then like so I went in and found like all the vampire trees because I wanted the trees to kind of go with the like surrounding trees. So I tried to stay like on pack because like the pack is associated with this world. So they would look most correct if they were all together. But of course all the vampire trees are dead. So it's like it's a very bleak kind of town that I'm making here. It's a bleak, like, you know, worn out, like I don't want anything to feel like especially new, very gothic, very like this isn't like the London setting of Dracula. It's like the Transylvania setting where he's like Jonathan Harker is like arriving and going like, oh my gosh, this place is huge, but a dump. You know, like that's kind of the vibe for the castle that I'm going to build for this world. So yeah, everything's supposed to kind of go together. And I like the idea that like these are like the peasants in the town who are like, I don't know about this Dracula guy, but I'm not going to mess with him. So we're just chilling. So I like shrunk all this grass to kind of feel like it was growing up through the pavement and like in like random little spots. And like all the shrubberies are dead. That's so lame. I like it so much. And then I went ahead and changed like all like the little trims around the roofs. And finally was like, you know what? I don't like that the doors don't match the house. I want the doors to match the windows. At least a little bit in spirit. So it would feel like the same people like live there, you know? And maybe this is like, you know, 3 people who don't know each other, or maybe this is like a family, but in my mind it was like just like 3 people who were living in apartments, you know, just vibing out. And like may or may not have known each other, but we're all like renting nearby each other. And like not like family houses. These are like young single people or like old people. Like, you know, it's like when you're like no kids, no responsibilities, just house, just poor and in house. Maybe like a new couple or something like would move into these. But and I wanted them to feel colorful, like really colorful, but not like colorful the way Victorians were colorful, where it was like neon. And they were like, oh, we have all these dyes, let's do it. I wanted to feel more like, ah, yes, like we want our houses to feel nice because like the landscape is so crap. So hence all the colorful windows and doors and stuff. And also like that's what I saw when I was looking in the source material. I was like, oh, look at these beautiful, colorful homes. I think these are gonna make you motion sick, love. I really am. I'm kind of worried about it, but if so, I'll try and figure out how to reduce that. But maybe I'll just edit all of the spinning out. But be careful. Yeah, this is when I noticed that there were like little details on the walls that weren't really easy to identify. And I kind of wish I had tool mod and I would have like done a little flip on the grate there. Tool mod really helps with stuff like that, but I don't have it installed right now, so I'm not doing it. But now I'm starting to think about like all the interior doors and stuff. And finally lights, which I always forget until the last minute. I'm like, oh shit, can't see anything. Now that I'm recording this, I'm suddenly like extremely hungry. I feel like I need to have a snack. I have leftover Indian food from last night. And I'm totally out of cheese and crackers, which coincidentally ended at the same moment. Like the cheese and the crackers matched up perfectly, which is kind of satisfying. But, you know. So I kind of decided to have like a greenhouse, a red house, and a blue house, you know? Based on their vibes. And I'm so matchy-matchy with stuff like this. I really can't, like... I can't help myself. I want them all to match. So it's like blue. And I was thinking about changing around, but then I was like, you know what? Like, let it be vampire pack. Just go more vampire pack. Maximum vampire pack. But like the tiles are so much in that like big room. I don't know. Black for vampires. So I made a little basement for a vampire, basically, for them to like sleep in their little coffin, like under the stairs. Be like, oh, what? That's just the basement. Don't worry about it. It's a vampire. There's a vampire that lives there. It's always hard because I don't want there to be like a little harsh line between the top and the bottom stairs. So I always have to do like the same color for the downstairs and upstairs. And here's where I'm like, oh, I'll put a cow in because I wanted to put a cow in, but it's too small for a cow. I should have checked that first. But no, so I put in some chickens so they can have a chicken coop. And something about like having just livestock wandering around feels very village to me. So chicken coop. I keep on forgetting trash cans and mailboxes, so I decided to put a couple in there. And like some like outdoor things to do, you know, some gardening. Make an outdoor activity space. I think the fireplaces are nice. I think they're necessary. They give like that old world feel. And like because of the stone, it feels like more like, oh yeah, that's the fireplace. That's the fireplace that makes sense in this place. So I'm like being very particular about this bathroom and trying to make sure it's like really nice. And then like I was like, oh snap, I don't have a bathtub, so I guess I have to go find a bathtub and like give it a bathtub somewhere. So I decided it could be like one of those like hotel rooms that has the bathtub in the bedroom, and that could be kind of good. So I was like, yeah, let's just like we'll commit to it. That's what we're doing. Also, like this is a vampire house, so there are no mirrors because vampires can't see in mirrors. So I thought, okay, well, like let's make it like a little story. Um, and I wanted all of the kitchens to have like the same like kind of appliances and stuff like that, as if they were like, you know, refreshed at the same time. Like someone had gone in and changed everything out, or like, or even that it was just like really old. They were just equally old and made by the same designers in the same village. Because like maybe like they all have the same carpenter, you know, that makes the same cabinets, or you know, something like that. I like the idea of it all being like locally sourced or whatever. And I did like a little mismatched chairs moment, but this is like a like kind of a cute little vampire. Like they, like yeah, they're a vampire, but they like having kind of like the pretense of being human, and maybe they're like young enough that they can kind of get away with that, being like, oh, am I 20? Am I 30? Am I 40? You don't know, you know. So maybe they're just like sticking around and kind of chilling, or maybe they're like an extremely old vampire. Like maybe they were turned when they were like, I don't know, 85 or whatever, and so like people are just like, wow, that old person just keeps being old, never dies. You know how some people are about old people, you know, like there's always like an old person, you don't really know how old they are. Maybe it's that kind of one. But this is not a fancy vampire. This is not a vampire that's very good with money. This is a vampire that's like kind of just doing their own thing, you know, reading books. No mirrors, so I can't use that table, but it's a good table. But yeah, very like a country life kind of vampire. And I was like, oh, let me put some flowers in here, you know, let's make it cozy. I was like, maybe I'll put this like little, and then I was like, this is obviously an outdoor flower thing, you know, obviously. So we put it outdoors. And I wanted to put in some cobwebs. I think cobwebs are really nice and spooky. So we did that. And I was like obsessed with this like chicken picture. Like, where am I gonna put the chicken picture? And the answer is somewhere. Maybe not here, but somewhere. The chicken picture is going in. But no, this one's more like, oh, I'm secret vampire. Like, here are the portraits of me and my past lovers and whatnot. You know, like the children of the night. And I wanted to make sure I was using. So like, I don't want it to be like everyone in this world has the same bed. You know, so I made sure not to use the vampire bed yet, because I think that's going to go in like the manors and the castles and stuff like that. But peasants wouldn't have a really, really nice bed. So I went for another like different fancy bed. This one still feels very like old world, still very cool, but you know, clearly like an antique or something like that. So I wanted to kind of feel like that. Like maybe these are antiques that got reupholstered like in the 2000s or something. So lots of like pictures, kind of again like the vibe of like, oh, this is like an old world, you know, this is you know, like this is an old creature that's been around for a while and has like accumulated friends and stuff like that. But you know, maybe it's not like rich. So we're going with that. Now, granted, I know that a lot of these like things are more like Polish and Russian and stuff like that, but I don't know. I don't want to like commit to being in one place in Europe. Maybe this is also Poland. Maybe this is Russia. I don't know. This could be anywhere. This is Sims World. It's Forgotten Hollow is what it is. So would never want to like conflate these different cultures. But you know, we're making this in. I like all these like lighting options. A lot of candles in this one. They're they're not spendy. They're not going to use a lot of money on their newfangled technology like electric lights. I think it was very brave of me to have green walls with like red furniture. So daring, so brave. And like maybe it's a vampire who loves to cook. Like there was it like Discovery of Witches or something like that? There's a story where like a vampire is like really good at cooking, just because he wanted to learn how and had over the years. Excuse me, sorry, dude. I sense your imaginary. Bless you. Thank you. So like this one, I wanted to feel more like playful. Like I definitely came into this one being like, this is a girl's house. This is like a woman's house, a young woman. And so I kind of like looked at things and I realized I was like, oh, I used the wrong sink in that one. Because like there's a sink made for those cabinets. So it's like really easy to just match to it. But this one's like just a girl's house. Maybe she's like interested in vampires. Maybe she is like, maybe she's an immigrant. Maybe she's not from around here, but she really likes the vibe and was like, yeah, let's do this. Maybe she's a backpacker or something. But I wanted it to feel really like goodwilly, very like sourced from multiple locations. So I was like, oh, I can't have all matching chairs. I have to like mismatching chairs because that's what you would do if you like had just moved somewhere and were like grabbing chairs where we could get them. So yeah, it's like always easier and more fun to like make these houses when I think about the people who live there and like how they would decorate and what they're doing. And I can imagine her being like, oh, score, like same style, but like totally different colors. But like, putting stuff on the like on the table, like maybe she's like eating breakfast and stuff. She's got a telephone. And like this is gonna be like the kitchen dining room. So like it's kind of like, well, like where do they spend the most time? Like do they spend time in the living room, in their like little lair? Do they spend time in the kitchen dining room? And I think that she would spend her time with like her buddies like at the kitchen table. Like she's like one of those girlies who likes to bake. Invites people over to like bake with her or something. So I wanted it to feel really like cute and fun inside. But trying to get like nice cabinet situation going when you have these like windows everywhere is really hard. So I went for like two-tone cabinets and I was like, okay, well how do I fill up this space? So I put in a bunch of things. I was like, oh, maybe she's gardening. Maybe she's the one that like killed all the plants. So we have this girl who's like killing plants, came from out of town, puts things on shelves. The kind of girl who puts things on shelves, right? So that's what's going on there. And I'm like trying to figure out like what do I put in these shelves? Like what goes on these? I don't know. So I gotta figure it out. But like, kitchen stuff. Yeah, like the problem with these like limited pack builds is that I'm like, oh, you know what? I want that stack of plates. Like the stack of plates is in the Mount Komorebi one. Like you don't get to have plates. No plates for you, limited pack. So it's okay. My life is easy other than this, so it's fine. I kind of flip like back and forth from like room to room, figuring out what I'm gonna put there. Like when I start doing clutter, I just clutter different places. which I guess is what happens in real life, right? Like you kind of figure things out as you go. Maybe I'm decorating these houses as if I were like actually living in them piece by piece. So yay, finally a place for the chicken. Because like that's the kind of thing that you would do if you're like a goodwill person. And maybe she's the person who has the chicken coop. Maybe she takes care of the chickens in the garden and is like totally killing the garden. But chickens, they are alive. So I was like, oh, maybe it's like a conversation space. But I was like, you know what? Like, probably not. This is not the girl who has the conversation space. This is like her little spot to just like hang out. So I found some like bookcases that were kind of like cool. And I was like, well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to like try and make it like a place where you can put your TV. That way it's like almost like a hidden TV. It's a combination entertainment center sort of deal. Where it's like, yeah, I want to read books, but I also really want to watch TV. So that's her space. That's what she's doing in here. She's reading, she's watching TV. This is her entertainment space. I kind of like how like the stairs are in this. Like I would like that in a house. I would think that was cool. To have like to be able to go to like from one room to another easily and kind of like poke your head over and be like, what's going on over here? Now here's where it was hard. It was like, okay, well, there's no bed that can fit in here other than like a single bed. And since she's not 12, I didn't want to have a single bed. So I had to think of a bed that like potentially you could just crawl up onto, you know? So like one without like a footboard, yeah. And I was like, not that one, even though I like that one. So I went for something with like kind of like a low footboard that would feel, I don't know, kind of again like kind of IKEA, kind of like just like throw it in there. But like, how would I create privacy if everything is like open to each other? So I was like, oh, we'll put some curtains up, as if she was like, oh, let me throw some curtains around my bed, have a little privacy for when I want to go to sleep. If like maybe I've got a friend over and they're sleeping downstairs, but it's like the same room. So I just like raised those curtains up to kind of match. And then I found swatches that went together, even if they don't perfectly match, they like kind of go together. So, and I thought that was like also in keeping with it. Like maybe she couldn't find curtains that match, so she just like kind of put them together. So that's what she's doing. She's putting it together. That's what she's doing. She's putting it together. But all of this needed to feel very like village, very like this is what I had, this is what I put here. And I got the idea of like adding like a chair that kind of went with one of the chairs downstairs. Like maybe she got a set but didn't end up putting them together. She took one of them upstairs to have as her desk chair. So I like having those little things that are like kind of like close together and then like clearly associated with one another but not quite there. And oh, she's a painting girly. She's an artist. So this is probably like the most complete of them. Like it has like all the things you need. It has bookcases and it has like entertainment and computers and skill building and you know chickens. So like this feels like one of the more complete apartments that you could move into for like this single Goodwill girly. Oh, and I gave her a sun lamp because I thought that'd be funny. Like she lives in vampire world, so maybe like she needs it to get some sun, some vitamin C on her, or vitamin D. Get some vitamin D for her, and that way she would be able to kind of live in that world more comfortably. That's not made for her. But I really like the different color like bottom and top cabinets. I think that's really cool. And I hate it when like I can't get the things to fit. So I had trouble dressing this particular window set. So I just like noped out and did the basic, you know, most basic of options. The plainest of all possible worlds. And then like this one we did with like the we being me, we did with like the country lighting, you know, little sconces all over. I don't know, is it a sconce if it's going down? Or sconces only the ones that point upwards? Ooh, I don't know this, but that's okay. And this, like, I couldn't tell if this was like an industrial look or like a medieval look, but that always read kind of like a medieval chandelier to me, so I went ahead and put it down there. So, moving on to the next one. Now, this one, I had kind of the idea that a man lived here. That's like the only thing I have in mind. It's like, okay, maybe this is a man's house. So, I didn't do as much like foofity stuff as I would elsewhere. I wanted him to have a little wheelbarrow cart thing also. So I was like, let's just put some more carts of flowers here, more flowers for everyone. And I toyed with the idea of putting little like flowers outside, but I think that kind of ruined like the gloomy aesthetic, so I decided not to. Like there are other worlds where I can put those, and I'll be happy to have them when I do. But he's also not the chicken guy, even though I like that chicken. I just kind of want to make a farmhouse, so maybe I'll move on to like the Chestnut Ridge or something where there's actual farms. But I was like, you know what? How about a lot of books? What about a ton of books in here? You know, maybe this is like a vampire lore specialist or something, and he's like moved into the town to kind of figure out what's going on here. So he's studying things unbeknownst to the neighbors. A couple of pictures. I have a hardest time like putting art on the walls because like I don't want to go into the gallery and get a bunch of stuff, but also I want there to be art on the walls, but also I don't want it to be the art that I've got. So I'm just never happy 100%. I'm always just a little bit unhappy with the art on the walls. Unless I'm like going full hog and doing like one of my big builds. And the big build's always like, there are no rules. I'm getting custom content. I'm getting whatever. Like anything I can, getting it in here. And again, like he's not a vampire, so he gets like a sunshiny yellow. Everything yellow. One thing I really like about this like style, like this kind of country-ish style of having like everything like brightly colored and not necessarily matching. I just like that vibe. You know? I also like the idea of using like a kitchen table as an island. Like both in real life and in The Sims. So I know there's like a little island that you can sit at. And I don't know if they'll be able to get past that. Listen, the practicalities of this build, not so great. Okay? Maybe the girl won't be able to get into our IKEA bed. Maybe he won't be able to get past his like kitchen table. But for now, it's great. For now, I'm happy. And if we have to switch things into a twin bed eventually, so be it. Gosh, this hearth drove me crazy because I couldn't, like, since I had placed the fireplace slightly off and I had placed the windows slightly off and everything was slightly off, I had to just deal with it being slightly off. And that broke me as a human. I was so annoyed. And I was like, what if I could just put something in there to like hide that it's off? And there's nothing. I couldn't think of anything that would look remotely natural. So that's when I was like, well, guess I'm putting some appliances in. Guess this one's gonna be popcorn eater. Definitely not a problem that this hearth is not matching the fireplace. It's fine. Everything fine here. I've also been eating a lot of popcorn lately. I got like some natural popcorn from the grocery store and it's really nice. I think I might want to get one of those bowls that you can pop the popcorn in yourself because I think it'd be cheaper overall. And you don't have to worry about all those like things in popcorn, like the butters and salts and things like that. I can kind of have a little more control over it. Not that I won't put butter and salt in it. I'll just know exactly how much butter and salt I put on it. I really like these like little thistle plants. I think they're really like they're decorative without being overly present in the space. It just kind of gives you like a little something. So I'm like trying to disguise the asymmetry of it, as you can see. So like I'm trying to like it's not asymmetrical. It's fine. Don't look at the man behind the curtain. It's fine. Oh, and he gets the blankets. The blankets are like one of those things they added not too long ago that I haven't really gotten to play with much. So I like the blankets. It's like a nice little rack of things you can put on. So he needs a cobweb too. Cobweb. I just like the expensive art. Like I can't help myself. I want the art to be expensive. And there's nothing else you can do. So I guess one thing you could do to bring down the prices of like all the art and stuff would be to just or like sorry, bring down the price of the apartments would be to just remove all the art. Like now I'm really on my professorial nonsense and I'm like, yeah, let's go for it. Let's give him a little typewriter. That's actually a computer. Let's do a desk with one of those like gas lamp things. He's got a fish. He's lonely. Maybe one of the houses should be Van Helsing. Maybe I should do like a vampire hunter house in this world as well. That could be fun. What would Van Helsing's house be like? Like from this light, it looks like that's the same wallpaper as like the one next door, but it's not. It's different. It's a different paint color completely. So I want credit for having slightly different paint colors, even though they look identical, which is really irritating. I checked though. I wanted to have 3 shelves, not 2, not 4, 3. Just so we can have like a little bath stuff there. Storage, very important. I'm really not on my clutter game lately. I think I really need to increase my clutter skills. But part of it is not having access to a bunch of clutter. I don't want to like try and go through debug and find clutter because so often like coffee cups and stuff like from debug start to stink and like they make your Sims unhappy. So in my brain, I'm just like, maybe don't. Yeah, trying to find a way to like decorate this wall was so difficult because they kept on running into the window and like the stairs were there, but it just looked bare without it. So I gave it like a little gallery wall moment, you know. But I think I did pretty well. And then like adding lights, I was like outdoor lights, yes, no, yes, no, 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 yes, no, and just ended up doing the same ones as the next door because like maybe they were built at the same time, like same carpenters, same electricians. It's a small town. Maybe the carpenter electrician are vampires. That's why they can only come out and do night jobs. But I thought it's nice. I give her a little chandelier. But yeah, there's my little village. Give it some vibes. Threw in some rocks for detail. Because like it's a very rocky area. Like if you look at the outside, it's very rocky. Oh, rocky. Have we watched that together? Have we watched Rocky Horror Picture Show, or is that just something that I was thinking that we'd watch together? Well, I'm putting like the outdoor lights on, so I'm gonna check in a second. Yep, looks good at night. Looking good, baby. Looking good, baby. And then now I'm just going in and assigning them all apartments. So I changed it to apartment type, which means that now I have them as like little different apartment zones. And like you can't come in unless you're the person who lives in that apartment. So that's how that works. It's kind of cool.